Imagine you buy a lottery ticket just for fun. Picture yourself getting a lottery slip just to enjoy a little excitement. You don't believe in luck, but why not? The next morning, your phone rings. You're unsure luck is real, but why not give it a try? Then, early the next day, your phone buzzes. Congratulations, you hit the jackpot, a voice says. Good news, you just won the biggest prize ever, the caller exclaims. You laugh. It must be a joke, but then you check the numbers. You chuckle, thinking it's all a prank, until you look at those digits. Your heart stops. It's real, millions. Just like that. Your pulse skips. It's genuine. Millions in an instant. But what now? Quit your job? Buy a yacht? Move to Hawaii? So what happens next? Walk away from your job? Get a fancy boat? Fly off to a tropical island? John kept it a secret. He still took the bus, still ate instant noodles. John told no one. He kept riding public transport and sticking to cheap noodle cups. But every evening he practiced walking like a millionaire. Yet each night he rehearsed strolling around as if he were loaded. You might say, I hit the jackpot when something amazing happens. You might declare, I scored big whenever something truly fantastic occurs. Maybe you found the perfect job, or love, or free pizza. Could be that you landed the ideal gig, or fell in love, or stumbled on free pizza. What about you? Have you ever felt like you hit the jackpot? When and why? How about you? Have you ever felt like you struck gold? When did that happen, and why? You come home after a long day. You open the fridge. Nothing, again. Your roommate ate your food. You get home, exhausted. You open the fridge, empty, once more. Your roommate devoured your meal, again. Mark had warned Jake, don't touch my pizza. Mark had given Jake a clear message, leave my pizza alone. But Jake always forgot. This time, Mark had a plan. But Jake constantly forgot. This time, Mark came up with a scheme. He replaced the cheese with rubber, the sauce with strawberry jam, and the pepperoni with red gummy bears. He swapped out the cheese for something stretchy, switched the sauce to strawberry jam, and used chewy candy in place of pepperoni. That night, Jake took a big bite. He froze. Then, boom! He hit the ceiling, almost knocked over the chandelier. That evening, Jake chomped down. He stopped in shock. Then, wham! He practically flew upward and nearly crashed into the light fixture. You can say, he hit the ceiling when someone gets really, really mad. You might say, he absolutely blew up when a person is extremely upset. Maybe your boss, or your mom, or you. It could be your manager, your mother, or even yourself. When was the last time you hit the ceiling? What happened? When did you last lose your cool? What set you off? Now, let's talk about hit. It's an old word. All right, let's discuss hit. It's been around for a very long time. People used it in battle. A sword hit, a fist hit, pain. In old conflicts, a blade would strike, a punch would land. It hurt. But later, hit became about success. A song can be a hit. A movie can hit big. Same word, different feeling. Over time, hit also meant triumph. A tune could be a smash. A film could skyrocket. Same term, fresh vibe. In the 1920s, gangsters in America used hit for killing someone. A hitman. Dark meaning, right? In the 1920s, American mobsters used that word for eliminating someone. A hired killer. Pretty grim, right? But then came Hollywood. That movie is a hit. Now, hit means winning, like in music, in sports, in life. But soon Hollywood arrived. That film's a smash. Now it suggests victory in songs, sports, and everyday achievements. Crazy how words change, huh? What other words do you know that changed their meaning over time? Isn't it wild how language shifts? Do you know any other terms that evolved throughout history? Mike's dream was to be a singer, but his songs never got famous. One night, he played in a small club. Mike longed to be a vocalist, but his tracks stayed unknown. One evening, he performed in a tiny venue. A guy in the crowd loved his music. That guy was a famous producer. The next day, Mike's song was on the radio. Someone in the audience adored his sound. That person turned out to be a notable producer. By the next day, Mike's music was on the radio. People couldn't stop listening. It was a hit. Just like that, Mike went from nobody to star. Listeners kept it on repeat. It became huge. Overnight, Mike went from an unknown to a sensation. You could say this song is a hit when something is super popular. You might say this track's a big deal when something is incredibly well liked. It works for food, jokes, even memes. That phrase can describe a tasty dish, a hilarious gag, or even a viral meme. What's your favorite hit song? Which super popular tune do you love the most? Emma sat in the library, surrounded by books. Her final exam was tomorrow. She needed to study hard. Emma was in the library with many books around her. Her big test was the next day, and she really had to focus. But her brain was tired. She had read the same sentence 5 times. Nothing stayed in her head. However, her mind felt exhausted. She looked at the same line again and again, but she couldn't remember anything. She tried coffee, she tried fast reading, she even tried panic. Nothing worked. She drank coffee, sped through pages, and even worried a lot, but none of it helped. Then she found a video. Become a genius in 5 minutes. It was hypnosis. Then she discovered a video called Become Super Smart in 5 Minutes. It used a trance method. She put on her headphones, she listened, she slept. She wore her headphones, listened for a bit, and then fell asleep. The next morning, she woke up. She felt different. When morning came, she opened her eyes and realized something was not the same. She opened her book. Suddenly, she remembered everything, every single word. She picked up her textbook, and out of nowhere, she recalled every detail, each word. But there was a problem. It was all in Latin. However, there was a big issue. Everything she remembered was now in Latin. Her best friend laughed. "Emma, you really hit the books too hard." Her close friend chuckled and said, "Emma, you studied so intensely, it went overboard." Have you ever hit the books like Emma? Maybe before an important test? Have you ever studied like crazy just like Emma, perhaps before a big exam? You could say, "I have to hit the books tonight. Big test tomorrow." You might say, "I need to study really hard tonight. There's a huge test tomorrow." The office was full of people talking. The company was losing money. No one knew why. Everyone in the office was chatting. The business was not making profits, and nobody understood the reason. The managers had many theories. It's the economy. It's bad luck. It's aliens. All the bosses had their own ideas. Maybe the market was terrible. Maybe it was just misfortune. Or maybe something strange was going on. Lisa sat quietly. Then she spoke. Lisa stayed silent for a while. Then she finally said something. "Maybe we should stop selling swimsuits in winter." Silence. Everyone turned to her. She suggested, "What if we don't sell beachwear when it's cold outside?" Everyone stopped talking and looked right at her. The boss nodded. "Lisa, you just hit the nail on the head." The boss agreed, saying, "Lisa, you found the perfect answer." Sometimes the answer is simple, but people don't see it. Often the solution is very easy, but people fail to notice it. Have you ever hit the nail on the head? Maybe when solving a problem. Have you ever said exactly the right thing? Perhaps when figuring out something important. You might say, "That's exactly right. You really hit the nail on the head." Someone could say, "Yes, that's completely correct. You truly got it exactly right." Ben always dreamed of travel, but he waited for the right time. Ben always wanted to go exploring, but he kept waiting for the perfect moment to begin. One day, he grabbed his keys. No plan, just an open road. Then, out of the blue, he took his car keys, had no plan at all, and started driving. The wind in his hair, music in his ears, freedom. He felt the breeze around him, listened to songs, and experienced real freedom. 3 hours later, he was lost. No gas, only cows. After 3 hours, he realized he didn't know where he was. He had no fuel, and there were only farm animals around. A farmer walked by. "Boy, you hit the road without a map, huh?" A local farmer passed and said, "Son, you started your trip with no map, right?" Ben laughed. "Yeah, but it's an adventure." Ben smiled and replied, "Yes, but this is part of the fun." Sometimes you just have to hit the road and see what happens. Sometimes you simply need to start traveling and find out what comes along the way. Have you ever done that? Where did you go? Have you ever done something similar? Which place did you explore? You might say, "Let's hit the road. It's time for an adventure." You could say, "Let's start our trip. It's time to have some excitement." So, hit can mean to study, to find the truth, or to start a journey. So, that term can mean studying a lot, discovering the correct idea, or beginning a trip. Life is full of different hits. Which one have you experienced? Life includes many kinds of actions like these. Which ones have you gone through? Have you ever taken a risk and lost everything? Have you ever tried something risky and ended up with absolutely nothing left? Oliver was sure he found a gold mine. Digital rock NFTs. "It's the future," he said. Oliver felt he struck pure gold with those digital stone NFTs. He believed they'd shape tomorrow. His friend shook his head. "This is nonsense." Oliver laughed. Then the market crashed. His pal disagreed, saying it was all silly. Oliver giggled, but soon the entire market dropped. His bank account took a hit. His confidence? Even worse. His finances took a serious blow. His self-belief? It fell even harder. He checked his phone. 0, nothing. "Maybe it'll bounce back," he whispered. He glanced at his screen. No money at all. "Maybe it'll come back," he murmured. His friend sent a message. "Told you so." Oliver wanted to throw his phone. His companion messaged, "See, I warned you." Oliver was tempted to pitch his phone away. He could say, "I really took a hit on this one." But all he did was stare at the screen. He might have said, "I really lost big on this." But instead he just gazed at his display. Have you ever lost money on something stupid? What did you say? Have you ever thrown your savings away on a silly idea? How did you respond? You're tired. So tired. Your bed looks like heaven. You feel exhausted, beyond drained. Your bed appears like pure bliss. You take a deep breath, ready to hit the sack, just as your head touches the pillow. Boom. You inhale slowly, all set to go to sleep. The instant your head lands on the pillow, boom. Your neighbor starts his personal rock concert inside his apartment at midnight. The person next door launches into a loud music jam inside his flat in the dead of night. Not again, you groan, pulling the pillow over your head. Oh no, not this, you moan, pressing the pillow over your ears. The bass shakes your walls. The drums hit you deep. The low notes tremble through your room, and the percussion feels like it's striking your core. You could say, "I just want to hit the sack." But who would hear you over this madness? You might yell, "I just want to go to bed." But who'd notice with all the racket? What would you do? Bang on the wall? Call the cops? Move to the forest? How would you handle it? Pound on his wall? Contact the authorities? Escape to the woods? Would you trust a company that hires people like a lottery? Would you rely on a business that picks employees at random, like drawing tickets? At Jeff's job, hiring was a hit or miss situation. One day, they hired a man who was supposed to be an accountant. At Jeff's workplace, staffing choices were completely random. One day, they took on a man meant to handle accounting. He was great at interpretive dance, but numbers, not so much. He excelled at expressive dancing, though when it came to figures, he was lost. This company is wild, Jeff mumbled, watching the new guy spin in the office. This place is out there, Jeff whispered, observing the newcomer swirl around the workspace. Somehow, they still survived. Jeff could say, hiring here is really hit or miss. They managed to keep going anyway. Jeff might say, bringing people on here is totally luck or loss. But honestly, he wasn't sure which part was a hit and which was a miss. But truly, he had no idea which ones were great picks and which ones were disasters. Have you ever been in a place where everything felt random? What did you think? Have you ever ended up somewhere that seemed completely unplanned? How did you feel about it? You ever feel like life just throws one thing after another? One moment you're fine, the next, boom, chaos. Do you ever feel like problems keep piling up out of nowhere? One second you're okay, then everything gets crazy. Charlie didn't usually hit the bottle, but tonight was different. He sat at the bar staring at his drink. Charlie almost never drank heavily, but tonight was not normal. He stayed at the bar, looking sadly at his glass. He had lost his job. His girlfriend left. His dog ignored him. It was time to drown his sorrows. He got fired, his girlfriend walked away, and even his dog stopped caring. He decided to drink his sadness away. He lifted the glass, preparing for sadness. One big sip, and wait. He picked up his glass, ready to feel miserable. He took a huge gulp, then paused. The bartender smirked. That's apple juice, man. You ordered the wrong drink. The bartender grinned a bit and said, Hey, that's just apple juice. You asked for something else. Charlie sighed. Even his attempt at misery failed. Charlie let out a deep breath. He couldn't even be sad the way he planned. You might say, I feel so down I might hit the bottle tonight. But be careful. Too much, and you might hit the floor. You could say, I'm feeling low, so maybe I'll have some drinks tonight. But watch out. If you overdo it, you could end up on the ground. Arguments can be tough. But some words hit harder than punches. Fights can be really hard. Sometimes cruel words hurt more than any punch. Sarah and Mike were breaking up. Voices got louder. It was dramatic. Sarah and Mike were ending their relationship. Their voices rose, and it turned into a big scene. Mike was losing, so he played dirty. And by the way, he said, smirking, your cat prefers me. Mike realized he was not winning, so he fought unfair. He grinned and said, Oh, and your cat loves me more. Sarah gasped, That's hitting below the belt. Sarah took a sharp breath. That's way too cruel, she yelled. The cat, sitting between them, meowed in agreement. Their cat was sitting there and let out a meow as if it agreed. That was it. Sarah stormed out, leaving Mike victorious, but alone. That was the last straw. Sarah left quickly, so Mike seemed to win, but he stood there all by himself. You might say, that joke was funny, but bringing up my past, that was hitting below the belt. You might say, I liked your joke, but mentioning my old problems, that went too far. Fast reactions can save lives. Sometimes they just make things weirder. Quick moves can protect people, but sometimes they only create strange moments. Tim was driving home when, bam, a deer jumped onto the road. Tim was going home when suddenly a deer appeared in front of his car. He hit the brakes, heart pounding. The car screeched to a stop. He pressed the brake pedal hard, his heart racing. The car made a loud noise and halted. The deer? It just stood there, staring. That deer just stayed there, looking straight at him. Then instead of running away, it walked up to the car, slowly, casually. Then, instead of darting off, it calmly moved closer to the vehicle, acting all relaxed. It knocked on his window. "Do you have snacks?" Its eyes seemed to ask. It tapped the glass like it wanted to say, "Hey, got anything yummy for me?" You might say, "I was working too hard, so I had to hit the brakes and take a break." You might say, "I was overdoing it at my job, so I had to slow down and rest." Funny how hit can mean drinking, fighting, or stopping. Life's weird like that. It's odd that one word can describe drinking, attacking, or making something stop. Life is pretty strange, isn't it? You know, hit means to strike, right? But it's also used in fun ways. Let's see where you might use it. You probably know that this word usually means to strike something, but it can also show up in playful situations. Let's explore where you can use it. A calm afternoon, sun, waves, a sandwich in your hand. Then, bam! A seagull dives straight at you. A quiet day by the shore, bright sunshine, gentle waves, and a sandwich in hand. Then, wham! A gull swoops down on you. Julia hit the deck, dodging sharp claws, but too late. The bird snatched her sandwich. Julia dropped flat on the ground, trying to avoid those claws. She was a second too slow, and the bird made off with her food. "Did that thing just steal my lunch?" she gasped. Her friend laughed. "Well, you did hit the deck like a pro." "Did that bird really swipe my lunch?" she cried out. Her buddy chuckled. "Hey, you sure got down fast." Would you react the same way? When was the last time you had to drop fast? Would you do the same? Can you remember when you had to duck quickly? "Hit the deck," a soldier might yell during battle. Or a teacher might joke when papers go flying. "Get down now," a soldier could shout in combat. Or a teacher might say it humorously if documents go everywhere. A hot summer day, sweat on your forehead, and then ice-cold lemonade. The first sip, pure heaven. A scorching afternoon, sweat trickling down. Suddenly, an icy lemonade. That initial taste, absolute bliss. "Ah, that hit the spot," you say, smiling. "Wow, that really did the trick," you say with a grin. But wait, the second sip tastes weird. Dish soap? Oh no. But hold on, the next mouthful is strange. Soap flavor? That's bad news. "Who put the lemonade in a soap bottle?" You yell. "Why is this lemonade in a soap container?" You shout in disbelief. Sometimes hit the spot is about food, but it can be more. Sometimes saying something was perfect refers to meals, but it can also apply to other comforts. "That nap hit the spot," someone might say after a long day. What's something that always hits the spot for you? "That nap was exactly what I needed," a person might remark after a tough day. What always feels just right for you? A dream vacation. Plane tickets, check. Hotel, check. But then, lost luggage, overbooked hotel, and that ocean view, a parking lot. A perfect getaway. Flights booked, hotel reserved. Then suddenly, missing bags, no free rooms, and your sea view is actually a parking area. "We hit a snag," you sigh, looking at the cars instead of the sea. "We ran into a hitch," you mutter, staring at vehicles instead of the waves. Your friend tries to stay positive. "At least we're on vacation." Your companion keeps a sunny outlook. "Well, at least we're on a trip." "Yeah, on a vacation with no clothes and no bed," you grumble. "Sure, a holiday without spare clothes or a proper place to sleep," you complain. To hit a snag means running into a problem, like a sweater catching on a nail. The phrase "we ran into a snag" means you've come across a hurdle, like a cardigan getting stuck on a pointy hook. Our wedding plans hit a snag, a couple might say if the cake is missing. Our big day plans are in trouble, a pair could remark when their cake disappears. Have you ever hit a snag in your plans? What did you do? Have your plans ever gone sideways? How did you handle the problem?